So this was the monthly payment on my 2022 Ram TRX. As you can see, it's $2,258.97 every single month. You might think that's kind of high, but in reality, this is a brand new, almost brand new. These trucks are not cheap, especially at the time when I bought them. They've come down a bit now, but about a year or two ago, they were still holding pretty high. So this was 2022. It was had 4,000 miles on it, so pretty new, and it was fully loaded. I put $2,500 down. I had a little bit negative equity from my previous car that I bought for it was a Suburban that I bought for my business, so that got rolled into there, kind of added to the payment a bit. This is full warranty included and no maintenance plan, just the full warranty, extended warranty. The extra warranty you can buy has the factory warranty, and then there's the extended warranty that you can buy from the dealer. Also had that on there as well. And the interest rate was about 10%. Even though my credit's really good, interest rates have gone up a lot over the past few years. And if you have a loan over $100,000, they bump it up a few points. So that's kind of what happened because the out the door cost was over 100,000. It ended up being 10% APR, which isn't the best, but for right now, the times where the APRs are sitting, it's kind of understandable, especially when you factor in a 2-point bump from it being over $100,000. They told me the best case scenario, I could have got 8%. So the only other way would have been going to a credit union after the fact, and then or after it was under 100,000, go to a credit union, and then I could probably get it down to 6. But as some of you know, if you watch the other videos, the truck's gone. It was stolen, so I never got the chance to refinance it. So as I said, I put $2,500 down. I wanted to put down as little as possible only because I own businesses and I know what to do with the capital otherwise to make more money than it would just sitting dead in a vehicle that's losing value. So that's not necessarily for everybody. If you are that person that knows how to make more money off your money than putting into a vehicle that loses money, then it can make sense to do so, especially if you're in a capital based business where you can immediately deploy that capital into things that immediately start paying you much higher percents than 5, 10, whatever APR could be. You would make way more money on that money than you would ever make or ever save by putting a bigger down payment down. And you'll hear a lot of entrepreneurs talk about that. It really just comes down to opportunity costs at the end of the day. So if you got a slightly better APR and then you didn't have negative equity, like in my situation, then you would have been able to easily get this under or closer to 2,000, maybe under 2,000, putting very minimal down. So here are the insurance charges. I use Toggle. They're a 21st century branch of car insurance. And it was about $200. Looks like some months were 230. I don't know if they were tracking the mileage or something and bumped it up, but it was around $200 every month, which was pretty expected. The Suburban I had was $150 a month, which makes sense. It's more of a basic car, but this bumped up $50 to $200 a month. So not terrible on the insurance. Most of the costs here are going to be for the payment and the fuel. The fuel on this thing is insane. So fuel, it's pretty bad as you could expect. When I first got the TRX, I didn't even check what it was rated for, the MPG. And when I saw it was 8 to 12, I was actually shocked. I was like, damn, I didn't even realize that it was that much, or that little rather. So fuel is extremely expensive. I knew it was going to be bad, but I did not expect under 10. So when I first saw that, it was pretty shocking. But it is terrible. It is really bad, and you will pay for it. To fill up the entire tank in California, it's about 150, maybe 170 around there, depending on the price of fuel. You do have to put 91 premium in it, obviously, 700 horsepower, supercharged V8, takes 91. That's the best we get here in California. So the way I think Dodge kind of made up for this really bad fuel economy was they put a 33-gallon tank. And while that does help, because the MPG is so low, even with a full tank at 33 gallons, you're still maybe getting 300 miles, 330, 350 if you're driving a lot of highway miles. That's going to be the best case scenario on a full tank. One thing I did notice though is if you do a lot of highway driving, like I do, getting a truck bed cover, which most people will get on trucks anyway, that seemed to improve the miles per gallon by 1 or 2 miles per gallon average. Especially being on the freeway, think about the back just parachuting constantly. Probably in the city, it doesn't make much difference, but on the freeway, if you have the truck bed just parachuting the whole time, it's definitely going to affect it a little bit. But those 1, 2 miles per gallon over time, I think adds up a bit. It does suck having such bad fuel economy, but it's crazy because when you drive it, you can literally see the gas gauge slowly move. It's wild, and you're like, geez, you're just burning money literally just driving the thing. Anywhere you go, no matter the distance, you will notice the gas gauge move. I think the last thing we'll cover before we get to the totals of everything monthly would be the maintenance. There was only outside of regular oil changes, which are about 150 bucks, 200 bucks every 5 or 10. I can't remember if it's 5 or 10,000 miles, but that's pretty typical. That's not anything crazy. The only other things that happened were I had the oil cooler cracked. We're assuming because of a rock hit it or something. It wasn't like it just broke. It was something actually must have hit it to crack it. And then the other thing, which was weird, is my windshield. I don't know if you guys know, but the TRX windshields are actually laminated. So they're extremely strong because it's made for off-road. So rocks hit it, but it doesn't break, which is pretty cool. But I guess a pretty solid rock. It was a small rock, but it hit really hard on my windshield on the freeway, and it cracked the windshield, even though the glass is laminated, which was annoying because it's laminated, it cost $2,000 to replace a factory Ram TRX windshield. Luckily, insurance covered half of it, so I only had to pay $1,000 out of pocket. But still, it's just something to think about with these cars. If something does happen in windshield, if you want to replace it with OEM, the laminated stuff, obviously you could switch it out for a normal one, and it would be much cheaper. But if you wanted to keep it OEM, which I would recommend in this truck, it's a $2,000 retail on the OEM without insurance coming in. And like I said, they only covered 50% for me. I'm not sure what would happen in other scenarios with different insurances, but that's something to keep in mind. So I thought it'd be cool to cover all these costs so people know going into it what to expect. These trucks aren't cheap, and mine's stolen, as you probably know. And if you don't, go watch my other videos if you want to learn about that. Obviously, they are commonly stolen, so you could add in the cost if you wanted to protect it to the IGLA and the CompuStar. Add in that cost to when you buy the truck. So up front, I'm going to spend this right away as soon as I buy it. I'm not sure what the total cost for both of those would be, but I would imagine it'd be somewhere installed around 3 to 5 grand for both of them together. So it's just something to think about. Lastly, so roughly the total cost, depending on how much you drive and how much gas you use. Dude, what are you doing? So depending on how much you drive, fuel is going to play a big factor into how much the actual total cost is every single month. But for me, if I filled up the tank 3 times a month, around $150 each per tank, it would be about $2,900 a month total cost to own this car. It's significant. So people driving these trucks understand that it is expensive to own one of these things, especially with the fuel economy factored in. I think that's everything, guys. I appreciate you watching. If you could subscribe, I really appreciate it. Check out all the other videos. It'd be really awesome. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Try to respond to every single comment. Thanks, you guys.